The outer rim of human space was quiet most days, and Cal Redding liked it that way. He worked alone at Horizon Station 17, a small refueling hangar on a dusty moon that nobody visited unless they were lost, desperate, or running from someone. The hangar was old, the lights flickered, and the heating system made a strange cough every morning, but Cal did not complain. After years working in crowded stations and noisy orbital yards, silence felt like a blessing. On this particular evening, Cal sat at his metal desk, tapping a broken wrench against his knee while reviewing sensor logs. He was tired from repairing a shuttle earlier, and all he wanted was a quiet night. Outside, 2 suns were fading behind the horizon, painting the moon's surface in dull red. He expected a peaceful shift, maybe even a nap if things stayed calm. But then the proximity alarm beeped. Cal frowned. "That's odd," he muttered. "Hardly anyone came out here. The hangar's scans rarely detected anything larger than a drifting rock or a lazy cargo drone." He leaned forward and tapped the screen. The sensor image sharpened. At first, the shape looked like a moving mountain, huge, uneven, and alive. "What in the stars?" The object stumbled, then dropped to its knees in the dust. A moment later, weak claws scraped against the moon's rocky surface, dragging the heavy body forward inch by slow inch. Cal zoomed the image. His mouth fell open. It was a living creature, massive, winged, and scaled. A giant humanoid shape, but with long talons, a tail, and a crown of curved horns. Pale, cracked scales glimmered in the weak sunlight. Heat signatures showed unstable body temperature, and oxygen levels around it were rapidly falling. The being lifted its head toward the hangar. Glowing golden eyes flickered, dim and fading. "It's trying to reach me," Cal whispered. Fear stabbed his chest. He had seen images of similar species in old reports, stories about the Dracarian, huge dragon-like warriors feared across many sectors. Some governments still told children, "Behave, or a Dracarian will come take you." They were strong, proud, and not exactly friendly to outsiders. But the creature outside was not roaring. It was crawling. It looked injured. It looked thirsty. It looked dying. Cal's instincts kicked in. "Whoever you are, you're not dying on my doorstep," he said firmly. He rushed to the airlock panel, activating the external lights. The flood lamps flashed on, revealing the creature more clearly. Its wings drooped lifelessly. Its breathing was shallow. Dust clung to its scales like ash. Cal quickly pressurized the secondary air chamber, grabbed a large container of water, and unlocked the outer gate. The moon's cold wind swept in as the gate opened. Cal stepped forward carefully, boots crunching on the ground. The creature raised its head weakly at the sound. Up close, it was even larger, easily 6 meters tall if it stood, with muscles like carved stone and horns that curved back like blades. But its strength was gone. Its eyes barely stayed open. Cal held the water container in both hands. "Hey," he said slowly, speaking in calm, clear, basic standard. "I won't hurt you. I can help." The creature's lips parted, revealing sharp but dull fangs. Its voice came out like a dry whisper. Water!" Cal stepped closer, heart thudding. The claws near his boots were huge enough to crush him, but they only trembled weakly. He raised the container and let a small stream of water trickle toward the creature's mouth. The tongue flicked out, struggling to reach. "You poor thing," Cal murmured. He crouched beside the giant head and gently tilted the container. Water flowed. The creature drank greedily, each swallow shaky and uneven. After several long sips, it breathed out a deep, shaking sigh. More color returned to its eyes. Cal helped it drink until the container was empty, then set it aside. "Better?" The creature blinked slowly. "More. Please." Cal hurried back to the hangar, grabbed 2 more large water tanks, and returned. He fed the creature again, patient and steady, giving small amounts at a time. After nearly 10 minutes, the creature managed to push itself onto one elbow. The movement made the ground tremble. Cal stepped back, startled. The creature looked at him fully now, golden eyes brighter, tired but attentive. The voice, still raspy, carried strength beneath the weakness. "You helped me," it said. "A human. Gave water to a Dracarian." "So you are Dracarian," Cal said softly. "I thought so." The creature bowed its head slightly. "I am called Virka, daughter of Clan Fireblood." She paused to breathe. "Why did you help me? Your kind fears mine." Cal shrugged lightly. Didn't look like someone to fear. Looked like someone dying. Virka studied him for a long moment, as if he had spoken something shocking. The wind rustled her broken wings. Finally, she said, "You are strange, human." "Cal," he corrected. "My name's Cal." Virka's eyelids fluttered. She was still dangerously weak. Cal motioned toward the hangar. "I have medical kits inside. You'll be safer there. Can you walk?" Virka tried to stand. Her legs wobbled. Her wings dragged the ground. She managed only one step before collapsing again with a heavy thud. Cal winced. "Yeah, that's a no. Hold on." He sprinted back to the hangar and activated the floor-mounted hover rig, normally used to move heavy cargo. With effort, he slid the flat platform under Virka's torso and used the pull cables to stabilize her. The rig groaned but lifted. Slowly, very slowly, he guided Virka into the airlock and then into the medical bay area of the hangar. Her size forced him to retract several tool stations just to fit her inside. As the doors shut and the airlock pressurized, Cal grabbed bandage spray, nutrient fluid packs, and an atmospheric stabilizer. He worked quickly but carefully. Virka watched him in silence, her chest rising and falling with steadying breaths. "You are not afraid," she observed softly. "I didn't say I wasn't," Cal replied honestly. "Just said I wouldn't let you die." Her eyes softened in a way he didn't expect. "Dracarian respect bravery, even small ones like you." "Small?" Cal snorted. "Hey, I'm average height." A weak but genuine rumble escaped her chest, a laugh, deep and warm. After warming her body temperature, hydrating her further, and stabilizing her wounds, Cal stepped back to clean his hands. Virka rested her head on the ground, eyes drifting open and closed. "You should sleep," Cal said. "You've had a rough time." Virka hesitated. "You trust me enough to let me rest here?" "You trusted me enough to drink water I handed you," Cal said simply. "That counts for something." Her eyes widened slightly, as though she had never heard such logic before. She curled up, tail wrapped near her legs, wings folded close. She looked less like a terrifying warrior now, and more like a giant exhausted traveler who had been alone for too long. Before sleep took her, she whispered, "Human Cal, I owe you a debt you do not understand." "Debts can wait," Cal replied. "Just get better." Virka closed her eyes, breathing steady and deep at last. Cal dimmed the lights and returned to his desk, watching her on the monitor. He didn't know who she was running from, how she got hurt, or why a Dracarian was alone on a dead moon. But he knew one thing for sure. Whatever he had stepped into tonight, it was bigger than him. Much bigger. He sipped his coffee, gaze fixed on the sleeping giant. "Well," he sighed, "tomorrow is going to be interesting." He had no idea how right he was. Morning on Horizon Station 17 came slowly. The twin suns rose together, filling the hangar with pale gold light that slipped across metal floors and dusty corners. Cal Redding stretched, rubbed his eyes, and forced himself out of the old chair he had fallen asleep in. A cold cup of coffee sat on the desk beside him. He grimaced, took one sip, and set it down. His gaze moved to the screen showing the medical bay. Virka was still asleep. Her huge form lay curled on the reinforced floor, wings folded, tail resting quietly. Her breathing had become deeper and steady during the night. She no longer shook with every breath. Her scales looked brighter, almost glowing faintly. More importantly, she didn't look like she was dying anymore. Cal felt a bit proud. Not many people could say they saved a Dracarian. He grabbed another container of water, checked the nutrient packs, and walked toward the medical bay. When the door slid open, a soft rush of warm air greeted him. Virka stirred at the sound. Her golden eyes opened slowly and focused on him. "You return?" she said, voice low but stronger. "Yeah. Had to check if my patient was still alive." Cal held up the water container. "You look better. Want some?" Virka lifted her head. "Yes, please." Cal placed the container near her mouth, and she drank carefully this time, not desperate like before. After she finished, she sat up slowly, joints cracking like heavy stones shifting. "You healed fast," Cal said. "Faster than most species I've seen." "It is our nature," Virka replied. "A Dracarian body repairs quickly when hydrated and warm." Cal nodded. "Well, your temperature is stable now. Your wounds are closing. You should rest more, but you're out of danger." Virka looked around the room, studying the walls, lights, and scattered tools. Everything seemed too small for her size. "This place is modest," she said, "but safe." "That's the main thing," Cal replied. Virka tilted her head. "You speak simply, direct, not like many humans I have heard." Cal raised an eyebrow. "You've met humans before?" "Only in warnings," she said. "Most Dracarian clans avoid your kind. They say humans are clever but dangerous, soft but unpredictable, too quick with words, too quick with weapons." Cal laughed. "Sounds like us." Virka didn't laugh. She watched him seriously, then said, "But you did not act like the stories." Cal shrugged. "Stories rarely get things right." Virka lowered her gaze. "You gave me water. You saved my life. It was the right thing to do." Again, Virka stared at him in a strange, almost confused way. She murmured something in her own language, a deep, rumbling phrase Cal couldn't understand. "What does that mean?" he asked. "It is an ancient law," she said softly. "Among my people, there is a rule older than any war or any star map." She looked directly into his eyes. "Life given must be life protected." Cal blinked. "Sounds important." "It is more than important," Virka said. "It is sacred. If someone gives water, food, or shelter to a Dracarian when death is near, a bond is created, a vow, a responsibility." Cal scratched his head. "Okay, so what does that mean for you?" "It means I now owe you my life," she said simply. "I must protect you, stand beside you, and repay the debt." Cal choked on air. What? No, you don't have to do that. I just helped you because you needed it. That's all." Virka lifted her chin. "You may choose to refuse, but the law remains. My clan will learn of this. They will take this seriously." Cal sighed, rubbing his forehead. "Great. Just what I needed. More attention." Virka's brow furrowed. "You do not understand how far this will go." "Well," Cal said, "how far?" Virka hesitated, as if unsure how to explain. "The law binds not only me, but my clan. They will be responsible for you until my debt is repaid." Cal's eyes widened. "Hold on. You're saying your whole clan becomes involved?" "Yes," Virka said. "They will see you as an honor anchor, someone we must protect." Cal nearly dropped the water container. "That sounds like trouble." Virka looked guilty. "I did not intend for this. I only sought safety, and you helped me. I cannot change the old laws." Cal leaned against the wall, letting the information sink in. He imagined dozens, maybe hundreds, of giant dragon warriors suddenly showing up on his quiet station. His peaceful life would vanish instantly. He groaned. This is going to be a problem, isn't it? Perhaps, Virka admitted. But honor is everything to my people. Cal sighed. Well, let's worry about that when it happens. Virka stared at him with a softness he hadn't seen before. You speak lightly. But you do not fear the consequences. Fear won't help, Cal said. One problem at a time. Virka breathed deeply and slowly rose to her full height. Even injured, she was enormous, her horns brushing the ceiling supports, her wings spreading slightly before folding again. Cal stepped back, still amazed by how large she really was. What happened to you? Cal asked. Why were you alone on this moon? Virka's expression changed. Her eyes darkened with memories she didn't want to remember. My scouting group was attacked, she said quietly. A mercenary fleet ambushed us. We were outnumbered. I escaped, but barely. I landed here to hide, but I had no water, no food, and my wounds worsened. Cal frowned. Mercenaries? Why were they after you? I do not know, Virka said, but they chased us for days. Someone wanted us gone. Cal crossed his arms. If they tracked you here, that's not good. Virka nodded. I fear they already know this location. Cal checked the station's radar from a panel on the wall. No alarms yet, still clear. You should stay inside until you're strong enough to fly again, he said. Virka hesitated. Humyn, Cal, I do not wish to bring danger to you. Too late for that, Cal said with a tired laugh. But I'll figure it out. Her eyes softened again. You are a strange human. You keep saying that. Because it is true. For the next hour, they spoke more. Cal asked about her species, what they ate, how they learned to fly, what their homeworld looked like. Virka answered carefully, proud of her culture, but gentle in her words. She told him about the mountain cities of her people, the glowing volcanic lakes, the sky rituals, and the fierce training that began when Dracarian were only hatchlings. And you? Virka asked, finally. What life do you have out here? Cal shrugged. Not much. I fix ships. I manage this hangar. I talk to myself so I don't go crazy. Why do you stay alone? Because it's quiet, Cal said. I like quiet. Virka smiled faintly. Your quiet may end soon. Cal groaned. Please don't remind me. But despite the worry, Cal found himself strangely comfortable talking with her. For someone so large and powerful, Virka listened with great patience. She asked thoughtful questions. She seemed curious about every detail of his life. Human food, human tools, human traditions. At one point she said, You risked yourself to help me. Most species avoid us. But you stepped forward. You needed help, Cal repeated simply. That's enough reason. Virka lowered her head gently. Your kindness is something my clan will not ignore. Cal opened his mouth to reply, but the station's alarm suddenly beeped. A sharp, loud warning tone echoed through the hangar. Cal rushed to the small control screen on the wall. His heart jumped. A ship had entered the system, then another, then another, and another. His voice cracked. Virka? Yes? How many ships does your clan usually travel with? Virka's eyes widened. She stood quickly despite the remaining pain. Show me the screen. Cal turned it toward her. Dozens, no, hundreds, of large heat signatures were approaching, shapes big enough to shake the ground when they landed. Virka inhaled sharply. These are Dracarian war transports. How many? Cal asked, dread rising in his chest. Virka's expression turned serious. At least 300. Cal's stomach dropped. So you're telling me, he said slowly, that 300 giant dragon warriors are coming? Here? Virka nodded. It seems, she said quietly, that my clan has learned about you. Cal put his hands on his head. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. This is going to be very, very bad. The radar beeped again. More ships. Virka whispered, "Humyn Cal, they are coming to honor the law." Cal felt the floor shake under his boots as the first large shadow passed overhead. "Perfect," he said weakly. "Just perfect." And outside the hangar, the sky darkened as the first Dracarian landing crafts descended, preparing to storm Horizon Station 17. Cal Redding had known many stressful days while working alone at Horizon Station 17. Power failures, crashed shuttles, angry customers, and once even a small meteor storm. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to the sight appearing outside his hangar right now. The sky above the dusty moon darkened as massive Dracarian landing ships descended in a tight formation. Their engines glowed like falling stars, and their shadows stretched across the rocky ground like giant wings. Virka stood beside Cal near the hangar entrance, her posture tall, her wings folded tightly against her back. Even though she was still recovering, she looked stronger than she had last night. But there was a tension in her eyes that Cal didn't like. "How many exactly?" he asked again, hoping the number might somehow change. She inhaled slowly. "At least 300. Maybe more." The radar beeped again. Cal checked it with a shaky hand. 378? He whispered. "That can't be right. That's a whole war delegation." "It is," Virka said quietly. The largest ship touched down first, landing with a heavy thud that made dust explode upward. Its hatch opened with a deep metallic groan. From inside, a flood of giant armored figures marched out in tight formation. Cal's throat tightened. Dracarian warriors were not small. They towered like living mountains, each covered in thick scales and plate-like armor that looked grown rather than forged. Many carried energy spears or heavy gauntlets. Their eyes burned with intensity, focused on the hangar like it was an enemy fortress. Cal took one step back. "Okay, nope, no thank you. Too big. Way too big." "Stand your ground, Humyn Cal," Virka said gently. "I'd prefer to stand several miles away," Cal muttered. But he stayed beside her. The Dracarian warriors formed a semicircle around the hangar. They moved with perfect synchronization, disciplined and silent. The atmosphere felt heavy, like the air itself was afraid. Then another ship landed, and another. Soon the entire area was filled with the thunder of engines, the stomp of heavy feet, and the gleam of metallic armor. It looked as if an army had arrived to conquer a planet, but their target was a single small human hangar. Cal swallowed hard. "Any chance they're just sightseeing?" "No," Virka said. "They come for you." "That's what I was afraid of." A tall figure stepped forward from the center of the crowd. He was even larger than the others, with deep crimson scales and long, sharp horns that curved outward like massive blades. His armor was ornate, decorated with symbols Cal didn't understand, but instinctively knew were marks of high rank. "This is Commander Razek Fireblood," Virka whispered. "My father." Cal blinked. "Your father? You didn't mention that." "You did not ask." Cal resisted the urge to bury his face in his hands. Razek's voice boomed like a distant earthquake. "Where is the human?" Every warrior stomped once in unison, as if emphasizing the command. Cal's face turned pale. "Maybe if I hide under the desk, he won't notice I'm tiny," he muttered. Virka placed a claw gently in front of him. "No. If you hide, it will look like guilt or insult. Dracarian honor values strength." Cal sighed. "Then let's go show them my human strength. Or at least my ability to not faint." He stepped forward reluctantly, squinting against the dust-filled wind. Razek's enormous head turned toward him. The commander stared down at the human who barely reached the height of his knee. Cal raised one hand in a small wave. Hi. The crowd of warriors shifted, murmuring in low growls. Some seemed confused. Others looked suspicious. A few glared as if they couldn't believe this small figure was the reason they had traveled across space. Razek stepped closer, and the ground trembled under his weight. He crossed his arms. You are the one who gave water to my daughter? Cal nodded. Yes, she was dying. And you did this? Without demand? Without threat? Without motive? I did it because she needed help, Cal said simply. A heavy silence followed. Then Razek's voice rumbled with disbelief. No one helps a Drakarian without expectation. Cal winced. Well, humans do sometimes. More murmurs spread across the army like a wave. Some warriors looked almost offended. Razek lowered his head until his giant eyes were inches from Cal's face. Humyn, do you understand what you have done? I'm starting to, Cal said, but you're welcome to explain. Razek straightened and turned to his warriors. The sacred law has been triggered. Every warrior struck their chest armor with a fist, creating a deafening booming sound. Virka stepped forward, standing beside Cal like a shield. Father, he did not know our laws. He meant only kindness. Razek's gaze softened slightly when he looked at her. My daughter, you survived. That alone is victory. Then he glared back at Cal. But the law remains. Cal held up a hand nervously. About that law, Virka explained a bit. Something about protection and honor. The ancient law states, Razek began loudly, that when life is saved by another, the clan must repay the debt. The one who gives life becomes an honor anchor. Cal nodded hesitantly. Yeah, she mentioned that. Do you know what that means? Razek demanded. Something that involves a lot of very large people standing very close to my small hangar, Cal guessed. A few warriors huffed, not quite laughter, but close. Razek continued. It means we are bound to protect you, defend you, honor you, until the debt is repaid. Okay, well, if a thank you and a gift basket will clear this up, I'm very open to that, Cal said. No, Razek said firmly. Only deeds repay ancient laws. Great, Cal thought. Perfect, excellent, absolutely not terrifying at all. Virka spoke softly. Father, Humyn Cal did not ask for this. He simply acted with compassion. Razek nodded. And that compassion will be respected. But there are dangers. He raised a claw toward the sky. Cal followed his gaze. Another ship was approaching, fast. Its engine signature didn't match the Drakarian ship's. It was smaller, sleeker, and moved like a predator. Razek growled. Mercenaries! Virka tensed. They followed me. Cal's stomach knotted. Are they hostile? Yes, Virka said. They attacked my scouting group. Razek barked an order in the Drakarian tongue. Warriors moved instantly, forming a defensive crescent around the hangar. Cal stepped back, adrenaline hitting him. Okay, they're after you, or your clan. Or now maybe me. Most likely you, Virka said apologetically. Oh, good, Cal muttered. Just what I needed. The mercenary ship descended sharply, engines roaring. It stopped above the ground, hovering dangerously close. A voice crackled through a loudspeaker. Drakarian forces, step aside. We are here for the Humyn. Cal's jaw dropped. For me? Why me? Virka placed a protective claw near him. Because if they take you, the clan will fall into dishonor. They wish to weaken us, Razek roared. You will not touch the honor anchor. The mercenary ship fired a warning blast into the air, sending dust flying. Cal looked from the mercenaries to the Drakarian army. Virka? Razek? Is there a way to solve this peacefully? Perhaps, Virka said. Razek shook his head. Unlikely. The mercenary ship aimed its weapon downward. Cal's panic spiked. Then Virka spread her wings fully, shielding Cal like a living wall of scales. Razek lifted his massive arm and pointed forward. "Protect the Humyn!" 378 Drakarian warriors stomped forward in unison, forming a barrier of armor and strength. Cal watched with wide eyes as an entire army prepared to fight for him. "This," he whispered, "has gotten completely out of control." The mercenary ship's weapons glowed, ready to fire, and the Drakarian warriors braced themselves for impact. The battle for Horizon Station 17 was about to begin. The air around Horizon Station 17 shook with tension. Dust swirled in thick circles, rising from the ground as the mercenary ship hovered above the Drakarian warriors. Its engines screamed loudly, echoing across the rocky moon. Cal Redding stood behind Virka's broad wings, feeling both protected and overwhelmed. A few days ago, he had been completely alone on a quiet station. Now he was stuck between a giant warrior clan and a hostile mercenary group, and both sides seemed very interested in him. He pressed a hand against his forehead. How did giving water turn into all this? Virka glanced back at him. Because of the ancient law. My people take it very seriously. I'm starting to see that, Cal said. In front of them, Commander Razek Fireblood, Virka's father, stood tall like a burning mountain. His armor glowed faintly, reflecting the bright lights of the mercenary ship. He raised one massive claw and pointed at the attackers. "Leave this place," he commanded in a deep voice. "The Humyn is under Drakarian protection." A sharp, mechanical voice answered through the ship's speakers. "We do not follow your laws, Drakarian. Hand over the Humyn. He is our target." Cal threw his hands up. "Why me again? I didn't do anything," Virka growled softly. "They think they can break us by taking you. If you disappear, the law becomes impossible to follow. Dishonor will fall on the clan." Cal blinked. "You mean they don't want me for me? They want me to hurt your people?" "Yes," Virka said. "Well, that's rude," Cal muttered. The mercenary ship lowered even further, landing gear touching the ground. A smaller hatch opened underneath, and several armored figures began climbing out. They weren't as large as Drakarian, but they moved quickly, weapons strapped to their backs. Razek signaled with a single claw. Hundreds of Drakarian warriors moved into a new formation, blocking the mercenaries' path completely. Cal felt panic rise again. Wait! They're not listening! They're going to start a fight!" Virka rested a claw gently on his shoulder. "Cal, we will try to avoid battle, but if they attack, my people will not stand aside." Razek slammed the butt of his spear into the ground, and the earth cracked slightly. "State your reason," he demanded of the mercenaries. "Why do you want the Humyn?" A mercenary leader stepped forward, smaller than a Drakarian but much taller than Cal. His armor was dark, his visor glowing red. "The Humyn saved your daughter," the mercenary said. "That makes him your weakness. And if we remove your weakness, we win." Razek let out a low growl. "Dishonorable, cowardly." "Effective," the mercenary replied. Virka's wings tightened with anger. "They fear what you might do, father. They fear our clan gaining strength." Cal swallowed hard. "I don't want to be anyone's weakness. I'm not even that strong." Razek looked down at him. "Strength is not only in muscle, Humyn Cal. Kindness can also be strength. Your act changed the future of my daughter. That alone carries power." Cal opened his mouth to answer, but the mercenary spoke again. "Last warning, Drakarian. Stand aside." Razek's eyes burned like fire. "We do not abandon our honor." The mercenaries raised their weapons. The Drakarian warriors lowered their spears. Cal felt his heart pounding. "Wait! No fighting! Let me talk to them!" Virka turned sharply. "Cal, that is too dangerous!" He stepped around her wing anyway. Some Drakarian gasped. Others stepped forward to stop him. but Razek raised a claw, halting them. Cal shouted at the mercenaries, trying to sound braver than he felt. "What do you want from me? If you're trying to hurt them through me, that doesn't make sense. I'm not important." The mercenary leader laughed coldly. "On the contrary, you are very important now. Once the Dracarian chose to honor you, they sealed their fate." Cal frowned. "That sounds like a weird plan." "Our goal is simple," the mercenary said. "We want the Dracarian weakened. If we destroy you, we destroy their honor. Their entire clan collapses into internal conflict." Cal stepped back in shock. "You would start a war over me?" "If it achieves our mission, yes." Virka moved instantly, placing herself between Cal and the mercenaries. "You will not harm the one who saved me." Razek nodded. "My daughter speaks for the clan." But the mercenary raised his weapon. "Then we have reached the end." The tension was thick enough to choke. Cal felt sweat drip down his back. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't a hero. He repaired ships and talked to broken machines. He wasn't made for this. His mind raced, and suddenly he remembered something. Tools, machines, the hangar. He turned to Virka. "Buy me 30 seconds." Her golden eyes flashed with understanding. "Go." Cal sprinted toward the hangar, boots pounding against the metal floor. Inside, he dove behind his workbench and yanked open a drawer filled with spare parts, wires, and old relays. His hands moved quickly. "Okay, think, Cal. What do mercenaries hate? Losing sight? Losing aim?" He grabbed a large portable emitter, a device used for ship calibration. It wasn't a weapon, but it could create a blinding flash of white light when overloaded. "Perfect," he whispered. He rewired the power lines, bypassed the safety controls, and attached a small battery pack. The device hummed loudly, heating up in his palm. Cal peeked outside the hangar. The mercenaries were preparing to fire. The Dracarian warriors were lowering their spears. Cal didn't think. He simply acted. He ran out of the hangar, holding the device high. "Everyone close your eyes!" Virka reacted instantly, covering Cal with her wing like a massive shield. Razek shouted orders in the Dracarian language. The mercenaries hesitated, but only for a second. That second was enough. Cal slammed the emitter onto the ground. A flash brighter than lightning exploded across the entire valley. The mercenaries screamed in surprise as their visors overloaded. Their weapons flickered and shut down. Some stumbled backward, blinded and disoriented. Even the Dracarian had to step back, blinking through the shockwave of light. When the flash faded, Cal stood up slowly. Razek stared at him with something like respect. "Clever Humyn." "It wasn't a weapon," Cal said, panting. "Just a tool." Virka looked proud. "You bought us time." The mercenary leader growled, faceplates sparking. "You will pay for that trick." Razek stepped forward, raising his spear. "No. You will leave. Now." The mercenary hesitated. His troops were scattered, their sensors scrambling to reboot. Their advantage was gone. But he still tried one more threat. "You cannot protect the Humyn forever," Razek's voice thundered. "We will try." The sound shook the ground. Even the mercenaries felt the weight of it. Slowly, reluctantly, they backed toward their ship. Their leader pointed a finger at Cal. "This is not over!" Cal shouted back, "I didn't want it to begin!" With a burst of engine fire, the ship lifted into the sky and shot upward, disappearing among the clouds. A long silence followed. Dust settled. The Dracarian warriors relaxed, lowering their weapons. A deep rumble spread among them, a sound of relief and pride. Razek faced Cal. "Humyn, you acted with courage." Cal shrugged. "I acted with panic. Big difference." "Courage often feels like panic," Razek said wisely. Virka knelt beside Cal so he didn't have to look up so far. "You protected us too. You changed the battle without hurting anyone." "I prefer that." Cal said. Less chance of broken bones. Razek crossed his arms. The mercenaries will return. They do not give up easily. Cal sighed heavily. Of course they will. But now, Razek continued, they know the clan stands with you. Cal raised an eyebrow. Are you telling me I have 378 giant bodyguards now? Yes, Virka said, whether you want them or not. Cal sat down on a crate and rubbed his face. This is the weirdest week of my life. Virka lowered herself to his level. We are bound by honor, Humyn, Cal, and we will face what comes together. Cal looked up at the Drakarian warriors surrounding the hangar, an entire clan ready to defend him. A wave of disbelief washed over him. Well, he said slowly, I guess my quiet life is officially over. Razek nodded. The next part begins now. And somewhere high above the moon, the mercenaries' ship turned silently, plotting its return. Cal Redding stood at the edge of Horizon Station 17, still trying to process what had happened. Only a few hours ago, he had been alone on a quiet station. Now, hundreds of Drakarian warriors were stationed around him, their wings and armor glinting under the twin suns. He could still hear the low hum of their engines and the faint vibration of their armor moving in unison. Virka was beside him, her massive claws brushing the ground, wings folded but ready. She had healed significantly since yesterday, and her energy radiated strength. Despite the chaotic morning, she looked proud. Cal scratched the back of his head. I just wanted to fix some shuttles and drink coffee, he muttered. Now I'm like the center of a dragon army. Virka chuckled softly, the sound low and rumbling like distant thunder. You are not just at the center, Humyn, Cal. You are the reason we are united today. Before Cal could respond, alarms blared across the station. On the horizon, a dark shape moved quickly toward them. It was the mercenary fleet, the same ships from before, returning in greater numbers. Their intentions were clear. This time, they had come to finish what they had started. Razek stepped forward, towering over everyone. His crimson scales gleamed. The Humyn is under Drakarian protection, he declared. We will not fail. Prepare yourselves. Cal swallowed hard. He glanced at Virka. This time, I think they mean business. Virka's eyes narrowed. Then we will show them the strength of humanity and the power of honor. Razek's army moved into formation. 378 warriors, massive and disciplined, spread out to form a defensive barrier around the hangar. Their wings flared occasionally, signaling readiness, while their energy weapons glimmered faintly in the sunlight. Cal looked at them and muttered, I didn't know humans could rely on dragons like this. Literally. Virka gave him a small smile. We are stronger together. You just have to trust us. Cal took a deep breath. He realized that the coming battle was not just about survival, it was about proving something. Not only could humans act with courage, but with cleverness and strategy, and sometimes size didn't matter. He ran inside the hangar, motioning Virka and a few warriors to follow him. Okay, we need a plan. They outnumber you in technology, and they've already tried a direct attack. But I know this hangar better than anyone. Razek nodded. Your knowledge will help. Speak quickly. Cal grabbed wires, spare power cells, and several old ship parts. We can create traps, force fields, and diversions. It's not perfect, but it can delay them while you counterattack. Virka tilted her head. You are suggesting improvisation? Yes, Cal said. Human improvisation. Works surprisingly well under pressure. Razek's eyes glinted. Proceed. Cal worked quickly, directing the warriors. Using old power grids, he rigged the hangar doors to act as barriers, creating energy pulses that could temporarily disable incoming vehicles. He set up loud sonic emitters to confuse sensors and mapped choke points where the enemy's numbers would count less. Every second felt critical. Outside, the mercenary fleet was advancing. Their ships descended, landing in formation. Soldiers poured out, weapons drawn. They were confident, but perhaps overconfident. They had underestimated the combined strength of a human mind and Dracarian warriors. Cal moved to the front doors and peered through a viewfinder. "They're coming in fast. Time to test the traps." He flipped a switch, and the first set of hangar doors slammed down, forcing the mercenaries to split into narrow paths. Sonic pulses emitted from hidden emitters, scrambling their communication briefly. The Dracarian warriors responded instantly, their massive weapons glowing. Each movement was precise, protecting the hangar while using brute strength to hold the choke points. Virka flew overhead, wings cutting through the air, landing strategically to block any breakthrough attempts. Cal ducked behind a support beam, watching in awe. The warriors were enormous, disciplined, and terrifying, but they were also coordinated with his improvised systems. Every trap worked in sync with the soldiers. A mercenary leader shouted orders, frustrated by the delay. "Split and flank!" Cal grinned despite the tension. "Nope, too predictable. They're running right into the next trap." He triggered a series of small explosions, not lethal, but loud and disorienting. The mercenaries stumbled, giving Dracarian warriors the perfect openings. Spears crackled with energy as warriors struck with precision, pushing the attackers back. Virka landed beside Cal. "Your plans are working," she said. "They underestimate what a single human mind can accomplish." Cal shrugged, adrenaline pumping. "I just know the hangar, plus I've fixed more broken machines than you can count. Explosions are just another machine I can manipulate." Hours seemed to pass in minutes. The mercenary fleet attacked repeatedly, each assault more desperate than the last. But the Dracarian warriors, guided by Cal's tactics, held every line. Their loyalty was unwavering, and Cal realized something extraordinary. Humans and Dracarian could work together, combining intelligence and strength in a way neither species had experienced before. Finally, the mercenary leader realized the tide had turned. His soldiers were exhausted, their equipment damaged, and their morale faltering. He called out to retreat. "Fall back! The human... He is protected!" Razek's voice thundered across the battlefield. "Remember today! Remember the power of honor!" The mercenaries retreated in a hurry, leaving damaged vehicles and scattered equipment behind. Dust swirled in the air, mixing with the fading smoke from minor explosions. Cal wiped sweat from his brow. He had survived, but more importantly, the hangar stood intact. The Dracarian warriors were uninjured, their discipline and loyalty clear for all to see. Virka landed near him, wings folding gracefully. "Human Cal," she said softly, "you saved us. You turned a battlefield into a victory without anyone dying unnecessarily." Cal shook his head. "I didn't do it alone. You all did the hard work. I just pressed some buttons and yelled a lot." Razek stepped forward, massive and imposing. He looked at Cal, then slowly knelt, lowering himself almost to the human's level. The gesture was deliberate, a mark of respect. "You have proven your courage and your wisdom," he said. "By law and by honor, you are now a part of this clan, not by size, not by strength, but by action and heart. You are the honor anchor of the fire-blooded." Cal froze. "Wait, does that mean I belong to your clan now?" "Yes," Razek replied, "and your bond with Virka ensures that the clan will protect you as if you were family." Cal blinked. "Family? With 300 giant dragons?" "Yes," Virka said, smiling faintly. "Family can be surprising." Cal laughed, a mix of relief and disbelief. "Well, I guess quiet coffee days are over forever." The warriors roared in agreement, a sound like rolling thunder across the moon. Cal felt the vibrations through his bones, realizing he had earned their respect, their loyalty, and their protection. Later, as the sun began to set and the dust settled, Cal walked through the hangar with Virka by his side. They inspected the minor damage, but nothing major had been destroyed. The station had survived, and so had he. "I can't believe this," Cal said, shaking his head. "One day I'm alone. The next, I'm leading a team of dragon warriors against space mercenaries." Virka laughed, a rich, rumbling sound that echoed softly in the hangar. "And all it took was water, Humyn. Never forget that." Cal smiled. "I won't. I guess I just did what anyone should do." Virka nodded. "But the way you did it, that is very human, clever, brave, and compassionate. You remind us that strength is not always physical." Cal felt a warmth in his chest. He realized something important. Humans may not be the largest or the strongest in the galaxy, but they could survive, adapt, and even change the course of events through courage, quick thinking, and kindness. That night, the hangar was quiet once more. The Dracarian warriors rested outside, watching the perimeter. Virka curled beside Cal, and he leaned back in a chair, finally feeling safe. Outside, the stars shone brightly over the moon, and Cal understood that his life had changed forever. He was no longer just a lone human engineer on a quiet station. He was a symbol of bravery, a friend to the fire-blooded, and a reminder that even the smallest human could inspire honor and loyalty in the largest of warriors. He raised his cup of coffee toward Virka. "To unexpected battles," he said. Virka lifted her head, fangs glinting faintly. "And to the human who gave water." Cal smiled, sipping his coffee. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight they had won. Together. And somewhere in the stars, the mercenaries would think twice before challenging humans, or dragon warriors. For Cal Redding, the quiet life he had once wanted was gone forever, replaced by honor, friendship, and a very, very large family. The hangar, the station, and a small human engineer had become a legend.